When I spoke with Stephen Smith's boyfriend, he was supposedly the last one who spoke with Stephen that night. So I wanted to find out, one, was he someone that was of some interest in this case?
And what was the conversation y'all were talking about?
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. Well, actual police audio between law enforcement and Stephen's boyfriend, recorded just a week after Stephen's death, has emerged. In it, Stephen's boyfriend, and that's presumably Mark Bickert, tells South Carolina Highway Patrol Officer Michael Duncan about Stephen's last words, final intentions, and what time these were communicated, and apparently via text. Let's listen in.
And what was the conversation y'all were talking about?
I asked him on one of the calls, are you walking? Because your car is going by, and his answer to me was no. And then the call dropped.
He didn't know exactly where Stephen was at.
So in case you didn't pick that up, the officer asks Stephen late at night, what are you doing? Are you walking? And Stephen's response is no. Before we get to the rest of this recording, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. If you're enjoying this episode, please like, share, leave a comment. You can also hit the thanks button, and let's get started.
He did say that he felt he was being followed. He said that he was being harassed. He didn't say, he said it was a couple of guys in a pickup truck.
So there you have it from Mark Bickert, this idea that there was something ominous, something going on. In his version, more than one person following and then doing something in this pickup truck.
The last thing he said is, I'm on my way. The text, I believe it said I'm 30, 40 minutes away. I believe the last text, if my mind calls me correct, that I looked at it was 3:37 a.m.
Now, you would imagine that would all be very easy to verify. You could look at his phone. Is that the text? Was it sent at 3:37 a.m.? But this is the part that I find a little bit strange. If he was out there at 3:37 a.m., why would there be a truck following him? Based on what? And the other thing is also, why would there be more than one person in that truck at 3:37 a.m.? It's a very strange hour to be particularly preoccupied with somebody else. There's also something a bit incoherent about, I'm on my way, and then, okay, but what about the guys following you or harassing you? The other thing that is seemingly not addressed in the audio, I don't know if there's more audio, but surely you as the boyfriend would be quite concerned. So you would imagine, okay, someone's harassing you, following you. Well, can I help you? Where are you? Call the police or whatever the situation is. He simply mentions that, and then there's no continuity to that. And that is why I think if this is Bickert, it is Stephen's boyfriend apparently. If he made this statement, I think it is dubious. It's difficult to say whether it's credible or not. And I think there are two ways of interpreting that. The one is you say it's not true, it's a lie. But then why would he lie about something? Why would he say that if it wasn't true? Well, it could be that he's feeling significant. It's someone that he did know and it's all over the news. And he somehow wants to be part of that whole thing. And we had a similar situation with Trent Bolt in the Watts case. Everyone's talking about this case. I want to be part of that conversation. The other side of that conversation is to say perhaps he needs to deflect blame either from himself, either because there's a reason he needs to do that, a good reason, or because he is worried that people are going to suspect him. In other words, it's not necessarily a good reason to suspect him, and so he's trying to put himself somewhere and Stephen somewhere else. The other thing that he says in this audio is that Stephen tells him he's 30 to 40 minutes away. Now, what does that mean? 30 to 40 minutes walk or 30 to 40 minutes drive? Because the problem is Bickert's home is nowhere near where Stephen's vehicle was found, whereas his father's home was about 30 to 40 minutes walk away. So I don't know whether Bickert misunderstood. Part of Bickert's explanation seems to be that he says that Stephen was coming to him, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
The more I talked with him, he was more concerned about finding Stephen's killer instead of it being him.
You want me to take the lie detector test? I'm telling you, I'll do it. Let's do it. Set it up. Okay. Let's do it, because I'm telling you, I didn't do this.
And that statement does make it seem very likely that this is Mark Bickert, because in the police notes, they say that the thing came up to do a polygraph and that he said that he would, and you heard in the audio that him saying that he would, and then ultimately I don't think there ever was one. And I don't think you can compel someone to take a polygraph, but it does make you wonder, why didn't he? What does he really know? And maybe he doesn't really know anything. Who knows, with the case being reopened, maybe they can track him down and find out what he did know after all. And who knows, maybe on Stephen's phone, they're going to find messages to Mark Bickert, perhaps arguments, but perhaps nothing at all, no communication whatsoever with him.
It was getting clearer that this person was not of somebody of interest, and that this was a homicide. He was murdered.
So that is Officer Michael Duncan's assessment. First of all, that Mark Bickert isn't really material to the investigation, which I, in a way, disagree with. I think he is potentially an important witness, not in terms of committing a crime, but knowing what is going on in Stephen's life, going on in his inner world. And the other part of what Michael Duncan says is up for debate. And I guess the ongoing investigation into Stephen Smith is going to be addressing that question. Was it a hit and run, or was he murdered? Is there anything of substance to that notion, I'm being followed, there are 3 guys in a truck? Duncan seems to be very focused on the Murdochs, and he talks about some kind of blunt force trauma, but I've looked at the incident photos, and I've recommended that you guys do as well. And I think what that reveals is that that wasn't necessarily staged, in the sense that the crime happened somewhere else, which has been said by so many people. If you look at those images, I'll put a link again in the description, then you can see that what appeared to have happened in the road. And I don't think you need to provide any more explanation than that. Just have a look at those pictures and you'll see why that is the case. Does that make sense? Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.